There's a monk who walks differently than everyone else. Not faster. Not slower. Just present. Every step he takes seems to touch the earth like a prayer, like a conversation between his soul and the ground beneath him. People watch him and feel something shift inside themselves, something they can't quite name. It's not magic. It's not a trick. It's something we've all forgotten how to do. Something so simple, so ordinary, that we walk right past it every single day of our lives. What if I told you that the answer to your restlessness, your anxiety, your feeling of being lost in this chaotic world, is already beneath your feet? His name is Thich Nhat Hanh, and he spent a lifetime teaching people something that sounds almost too simple to be true, that you can find peace in a single step. Not in a distant monastery. Not after years of meditation. Right here. Right now. In the most ordinary act you'll perform today. Walking. We walk thousands of steps in our lives, from our beds to our cars, from our desks to our doors, and yet we are never really there. Our bodies move forward while our minds race backward to yesterday's mistakes or forward to tomorrow's worries. We are ghosts in our own lives, passing through moments without ever truly arriving. And the cost of this absence is everything. It's the sunset you didn't see, the conversation you didn't hear, the life you didn't live because you were too busy thinking about living. Thich Nhat Hanh understood something profound, that the way we walk is the way we live. If we walk in a hurry, we live in a hurry. If we walk in distraction, we live in distraction. But if we can learn to walk with awareness, with presence, with intention, then maybe, just maybe, we can learn to live that way too. This isn't just about walking. It's about everything. It's about coming home to yourself. Imagine for a moment that you're walking down a familiar street. The same street you've walked 100 times before. You know every crack in the sidewalk, every tree, every storefront. But today, something is different. Today, you're actually there. You feel the ground beneath your feet, solid and real. You notice the air moving across your skin. You hear sounds you've never heard before, even though they've always been there. A bird calling from somewhere hidden. The rustle of leaves. The distant hum of life continuing all around you. And suddenly, this ordinary street, this forgettable moment, becomes extraordinary. Not because anything changed, but because you're finally awake to experience it. This is what Thich Nhat Hanh called mindful walking. Not a technique. Not a practice you add to your to-do list. But a way of being. A way of returning to the miracle of being alive. He would say, walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet. What a strange and beautiful instruction. To kiss the earth. To walk not as a task, not as transportation from point A to point B, but as an act of love. As an act of connection. As an act of remembrance that you are here, now, alive. Most of us live like we are running away from something. Even when we are standing still, there's this restless energy inside us, this feeling that we should be somewhere else, doing something else, being someone else. We scroll through our phones while walking. We plan conversations while moving through space. We are so desperate to get to the next moment that we completely miss this one. And then we wonder why we feel empty. Why we feel disconnected. Why life seems to be passing us by like scenery through a window. It's because we've forgotten how to arrive. We've forgotten that every step is an arrival. Every breath is a homecoming. Thich Nhat Hanh taught that when you walk mindfully, you walk not to get somewhere, but to be somewhere. You walk to be alive. Each step becomes a declaration, I am here. I am present. I am enough. And in that simple act, something shifts. The anxiety that lives in your chest begins to soften. The thoughts that loop endlessly in your mind begin to quiet. Not because you've solved anything. Not because you've achieved anything. But because for once, you've stopped running. You've stopped fighting. You've stopped trying to be anywhere other than where you are. There's a story about Thich Nhat Hanh walking with a student who kept rushing ahead, eager to get to their destination. The teacher stopped and said, "When you walk, just walk. When you arrive, you'll know you've arrived." The student didn't understand at first. But slowly, over time, the meaning revealed itself. We spend our whole lives trying to arrive at some future moment when everything will finally be okay, when we'll finally be happy, when we'll finally have permission to rest. But that moment never comes. Because it's not a destination. It's a decision. The decision to stop waiting and start living. The decision to recognize that you don't need to be anywhere else or anyone else. You just need to be here, fully, completely, with everything you are. What makes mindful walking so powerful is that it's a practice that requires nothing from you except your attention. You don't need special equipment. You don't need to travel anywhere. You don't need to be spiritual or religious or even particularly peaceful. You just need to take one conscious step. And then another. And then another. Thich Nhat Hanh would often coordinate his steps with his breath. Breathing in, he might take 2 or 3 steps. Breathing out, he might take 2 or 3 steps. This simple rhythm becomes an anchor, a way to tie your wandering mind to your moving body, to bring everything back into harmony. But here's what's really happening beneath the surface. You're training yourself to be present. You're rewiring decades of conditioning that taught you to always be somewhere else, thinking about something else, worrying about something else. Every mindful step is an act of rebellion against a culture that tells you to hurry, to produce, to optimize every second. Every mindful step says, "I am not a machine. I am a human being, and I have the right to exist in this moment without justification." Think about how different your life would be if you brought this quality of attention to everything you did. Not just walking, but eating. Not just eating, but listening. Not just listening, but loving. Thich Nhat Hanh taught that mindfulness isn't separate from life. When you wash the dishes mindfully, you're not just cleaning plates, you're practicing presence. When you drink tea mindfully, you're not just consuming a beverage, you're honoring the moment. When you walk mindfully, you're not just moving through space, you're touching eternity. The earth doesn't ask you to walk quickly or slowly. It doesn't judge your pace. It simply receives you, step after step, faithful and solid beneath your feet. And when you walk with awareness, you begin to feel this exchange. You give the earth your presence, and the earth gives you stability. You give the moment your attention, and the moment gives you peace. This is the secret that Thich Nhat Hanh spent his life sharing. Peace is not something you chase. It's something you uncover by removing the layers of distraction, the habits of absence, the patterns of escape that keep you from experiencing what's already here. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize they've been asleep. Not literally asleep, but sleepwalking through their days, going through the motions, checking boxes, surviving but not truly living. For some people, this realization comes during a crisis. For others, it comes in a quiet moment when they suddenly notice how much time has passed, how many moments they've missed, how distant they've become from themselves. And in that moment, there's a choice. You can go back to sleep, numbing yourself with distractions and telling yourself that this is just how life is. Or you can wake up. You can decide that you don't want to miss any more. That you don't want to arrive at the end of your life only to realize you were never really there. Mindful walking is one of the simplest ways to choose wakefulness. Because unlike meditation, which asks you to sit still and focus, walking is something you already do. You don't have to add anything new to your schedule. You just have to change the quality of attention you bring to something you're already doing. And that changes everything. That one shift, that decision to walk consciously instead of automatically, creates a crack in the armor of your conditioning. And through that crack, light begins to pour in. Thich Nhat Hanh would say that when you walk mindfully, you're not just walking for yourself. You're walking for your ancestors who never had this opportunity. You're walking for your descendants who will inherit the peace you cultivate. You're walking for everyone who is suffering, everyone who is lost, everyone who has forgotten that peace is possible. Every step becomes a prayer. Every step becomes a healing. Not just for you, but for the world. This is the perspective shift that changes everything. You are not separate from the world. Your peace is the world's peace. Your presence is a gift to everyone you encounter. When you walk with awareness, you're not just taking care of yourself, you're taking care of life itself. And suddenly, this simple act of walking becomes sacred. It becomes revolutionary. It becomes a way of saying, I choose to be here. I choose to be present. I choose love over fear. Awareness over autopilot is what I want you to remember. Right now, wherever you are, you have feet. You have ground beneath you. You have this miraculous ability to move through the world. And every time you take a step, you have a choice. You can walk the way you've always walked, lost in thought, racing toward some imaginary finish line. Or you can walk the way Thich Nhat Hanh taught, with intention, with gratitude, with the recognition that this step, right here, right now, is all you have. And it's enough. It's more than enough. It's everything. You don't need to become a monk. You don't need to retreat to a monastery. You just need to take one conscious step. Feel your foot touch the earth. Feel the miracle of movement. Feel the gift of this moment that will never come again. And then take another step. And another. Until you remember what it feels like to be truly alive, truly praise the path. The path to peace isn't somewhere far away. It's beneath your feet. It always has been. You've been walking on it your whole life. You just forgot to notice. But now you know. And knowing changes everything. Walk slowly. Walk peacefully. Walk like you have nowhere else to be. Because the truth is, you don't. You're already home. You just have to take the next step to realize it.